All right, welcome back, guys. Let's talk about the charts today, what we see in the market, and see where it goes. Currently, obviously, the market's taking a little bit of a dip. I want to talk a little bit more in depth and see the charts and see what the charts are telling us, basically. So it's really important that we see all of those things and we move forward. So currently, before we go to the charts, we can see that we were on 1.7 trillion. We've had about 200 billion gone out of the market, or kind of gone down. The market's taken a big dive. So you can see all the top currencies, every one of them have taken a bit of a dive. So everyone following the same kind of a pattern. You know, just basically going. Also, I wanted to point out another thing is going on. So if you go to Coin360, you can see which coins are red and which coins are green instantly, and see which percentage each coin has. So we're going to have a little look at that and see. So let it load up. My internet is a little bit slow because I'm uploading another video that I just did a little while ago. So yeah, it's kind of killing it because it's a 4K video, but let's see what happens. All right, here we go. So we can see from here that a few coins. So what is this? This is Kasuma, XRP, Crow. A few coins are still standing, holding the fort, but most of them are just bloody red. Market's gone red. So let's leave that and let's just go and have a look at our glass node and see what's happening with the new pool. New pool currently, it's not showing much. Again, most of the people who are in profit haven't taken it out, and I'm going to get into a little bit more in depth to this. I have mentioned it in the last video as well. Also looking at the stock to flow, there's not much of an issue going on. Stock to flow is still here, but remember there's a few facts about stock to flow as well. So when I talk about stock to flow, it's a whole different story. So I'm going to just quickly go into the 200 week looks okay. Let's zoom in a little bit and see what the 200 week is showing us. So yeah, I mean, we can see the colors here. Our color is still green. We haven't really flashed anything yet, so it's still good. Looking at the Bitcoin investor tool, that's where things get a little bit interesting. So as you can see, remember what I said, whenever we go above the red, market kind of heats up a little bit. So if we look into it, we can see that today was the first time we were so close. So up to now, we haven't actually touched it. You have to really zoom in to see what's going on. So you can see we have not touched it. So still very good on that one, so I'm quite happy with that. So now let's just go into the chart and have a look at the chart. So remember this chart I drawed up a few days ago, and I just randomly put a whole bunch of lines there, and I said, look, I'm going to randomly put a line there, and I did it on a 4 hourly. So this is on a daily. It's not really much you can see, but funnily even it kind of matches, but I'll just put it on the 4 hourly just so you can understand what's going on here. So if I put this on the 4 hourly, you can see that this rough line that I drawed here, and I said this could be our bottom, right, for this correction that we're expecting, or I was personally expecting. You can see that we perfectly touched that, and just to kind of make it larger and show you what I mean, right? So, you know, I mean, you can't get more perfect than this, where you've literally hit that perfect line, the volume came in. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the volume as well, and tell you exactly what's going on, right? You know, what the market is doing right now, because you have to understand a lot of things. I think somebody asked me the other day, what's the fundamentals of Bitcoin? And I said, there is no fundamentals. Bitcoin is just a store of value, right? It has no other fundamentals. And what I was implying was, you got to understand how, you know, what Bitcoin was designed for. Yes, that was the fundamental, but what Bitcoin's evolved into, that's the most important thing to understand here. But everything else, I mean, any other coin that I would go into, I would look for the fundamentals. But with Bitcoin, there's only one fundamental, which is very simple: it's a store of value, and everybody's interested now. Since we hit the $1 trillion mark, everybody's interested. Also, talking about the $1 trillion, let me just quickly go and have a quick browse and see, are we still there? So you can see we just dipped below the 1 trillion. A lot of people are taking profit, and I'm going to come back to this one, why people are taking profit, right? What's going on right now in the market, because it is a very important thing to understand. Why? So as you can see, we perfectly hit the 47,000, slightly dipped below that. But you see this wick, and this is what I want to talk about, wicks. Wicks are very powerful, very important thing. I mean, the body for us is what we're looking at. So the body would be our, the actual trading volume, actual people physically doing work. When you see a wick like this, right, as long as this, you see this wick, it only says one thing to me, right? It says bots, and liquidations. That's all it says to me. Now, talking about bots, let's go into this, and we'll talk a little bit more. But if somebody's asking me, what do I expect? Well, we know we dipped down momentarily and then we came back up again, right? So we're going to look at the 4 hours. We're going to continue. So far, I can tell you on the 4 hour, we haven't confirmed. We still have just under 1 hour left. And if this candle does not close on anywhere below these lines, we're safe. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a momentarily thing. So far, it looks very bullish. It's still going up. What I would expect is for us to probably just settle here, and then the next candle probably could even come down here and then touch this line, and then we might have a rebound. And that's the rebound that I'm looking for, basically. And I know that the market's doing it's turning back again and going back to positive. So, and I want to get into why I think the market's going to go positive, why I'm so bullish right now, why I'm saying this was the perfect moment to buy as many more, get some more holding. In fact, Bitcoin's the granddad of all of them, right? So Bitcoin's the only cryptocurrency that, in my opinion, everything else is an altcoin, right? Bitcoin going down like this takes the market down. It's just a market reaction. Nobody's taking their money out of any other altcoins, right? What's happened is Bitcoin shifted. As Bitcoin owns majority of the market share, the market dominance, obviously what you're going to see is everything else kind of momentarily dip down as well. That's all it is. It's just a market reaction looking at Bitcoin. But this is okay, because at the same time, when this type of thing happens, other coins, if people didn't panic and sell, have the chance to grow. So this was like a perfect opportunity for Ethereum to catch up and get a percentage of the market share, other currencies to get a market share. Perfect opportunity. If people haven't done it and people all panicked, oh my God, the world's about to end, right? Apocalypse, right? Sadly for you, I feel bad because you just made a mistake, right? Shouldn't have done that. But anyway, that's just me. I do me, you do you. I'm not your financial advisor, so that's a different story. So let's go back into, and so we're going to leave this here. As I said, I've already told you what I'm expecting. I'm expecting for another 4 hour to probably open a candle here, probably come back, and we probably have another 8 hours worth of downfall. But ultimately, this line here is a very powerful line. We don't really have enough data to create another support line, but this, as you can see here, was a resistance, and this was such a strong resistance that it's now become our support line. And as you can see, the bulls do not want it to go below this line, and every one of these line is one of those, right? So I'm just going to get rid of this particular line now. I'm going to put the Fibonacci out, because the Fibonacci is pretty much exactly where it's supposed to be. The target of 63. As soon as we hit the 63, you'll see that we're going to start doing the next things, and we're about to come very soon, by the way. So don't panic too much. It's nothing. This is good. And also looking at it right now, I'm seeing very bullish action. In fact, if I just shift it over, sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. If I just shift it over to the hourly, I mean, my God, look at this. Look at this. So we've had, this is the one, these are the ones that came down, and then here, this is where we've had the bullish action. So on the hourly candle, you can see how bullish it's been, right? So it went down and the bull said, no, we're not giving it up. So they're bringing it up. So on the hourly, we've already had our second candle open. This is the candle we're in at the moment. We've got 56 minutes, and you can see that the bears are trying to push it down. The bulls are saying, no, it's not happening. Currently undecisive, but ultimately, this is the line that we're holding, right? This is what you have to understand. Forget the wick. Look at this. This is just liquidations and bots, nothing else. So the bots, I want to get to this right now. And let's talk about it. So we're going to leave this. Also, actually, just before I go to there, let me just quickly, before I forget, I'll show you Ethereum done exactly the same thing. So on the Ethereum, you've got I'm on the daily. Let me take it back to the hourly, and you'll see that it's been the exact same action, but the action's happening mostly. What's happening here? Okay, mostly the action is happening because of the Bitcoin, right? It has nothing to do with Ethereum, right? Exact same pattern. That's because Bitcoin brought the market down, nothing else. So let's go into the data, and I have spoken about it on the previous video that I launched, and let's talk about this, right? So what we've got is we've got a whole market right now, kind of profit taking and dumping, but at the same time, there's a few good news you have to understand. Remember, on the last video I just launched, probably about 20 minutes ago, I mentioned something, I mentioned something very important on that one. I said how, we've got two particular exchanges showing up on the OnChain Data, OKX and Gemini. And I pointed out to Gemini, I mean, OKX pretty much falls in the same ranking as well. It does have a lot of institution, as it is actually quite a big exchange as well. The one I would be concerned about is Huobi, because Huobi is actually, I think, the second largest exchange, but Huobi hasn't flashed anything. Coinbase, another large exchange, hasn't flashed anything. Binance is another, obviously the largest exchange on the planet. It also hasn't flashed anything. Maybe the data is going to roll in after I make this video, but right now what I'm seeing is OKX to be to have 10,000 Bitcoin to enter the exchange. Obviously, when a whale brings his Bitcoin in, that he's getting ready to sell it, right? He's about to dump it to the market. Then you have Gemini, who deals with a lot of institutions, one of the most highly regulated. You have to be like an accredited investor to trade also. I mean, they do so many crazy stuff, and it's done by the original founders of some of the ex-founders of Facebook, the Winklevoss brothers, or Winklevi. So those guys are there basically. Sorry, excuse me one second, let me just silent this. So they're dealing with the regulation and everything, very heavily regulated, and they have one of the best exchanges out there for security, and also your money is like guaranteed if you're on that exchange. They're covered by the whatever financial conduct authority kind of a thing they have over there. They are in the UK as well. I personally don't use them. I find it kind of a bit funny to use. I just use Binance. It's just so much more easier. Binance, for me, it just makes sense. Anyway, so we've got 18,000 Bitcoin entering Gemini. People want to say, and this data, by the way, this is old data. This data is like a few hours ago, right? We're talking few hours ago. So this is on the dot, right? When we saw that big spike. Now coming into the spike, I talked about, what's his name? Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor announced it a few days ago that he is buying just over $1 billion worth. So he's ready. They've got a bot set up on Coinbase Exchange, Coinbase Pro Exchange, to automatically buy $2,000 worth per second every day for 10 days, right? And for me, that was new news. But the old news was when he mentioned that he wants to buy $600 million worth, when he wants to buy $900 million worth. At that point, it triggered to me. I said, Michael Saylor, in history, look back the 2 other times he bought, he's never ever bought it at the peak. He has always bought it at the dip, right? So if he's bought it at the dip, we know a dip is coming. And trust me, it makes me smile because I know, and I knew that, and I'm predicting it based on the facts. The facts was Michael Saylor announcing it, that I'm going to be buying. Michael Saylor saying, I'm going to stick a bot in there. And I can tell you, that wick we saw, right? That wick we saw most probably is the wick that Michael Saylor was talking about, where his bot was going to go. Now imagine this, for 1 hour he bought, every second he bought $2,000 worth. I mean, when you see a dip like that, he could easily trigger the bot and say, right, do you know what, buy more, buy double the amount, buy triple the amount. But we leave it at 2,000 as he mentioned, right? So he's definitely bought this dip. He's definitely, he's one of them. There are definitely others buying it as well. So that's what's going on. Also, looking at the 28,000 Bitcoin that just entered the exchanges. Obviously, sometimes you can manipulate the market, right? And I talked about it with somebody yesterday as well. I said there are people out there who have the power, the capacity, with so much Bitcoin that they have. They can just decide to sell and have a buy order on the bottom and buy. All right. So if they decide to sell whatever percentage of Bitcoin they own, or even all of it, right? It's quite funny that they sell it, they can drop the market by 7-8% and then rebuy the market at the bottom And I'm sure you're understanding what I'm trying to indicate here. There are people out there who can do this, right? So you can sell your Bitcoin at the peak and then pick it up at the bottom. You've created the market. And it's quite a funny term. I mean, you know, when you're selling Bitcoins on exchanges, or when you're buying Bitcoins on exchanges and you put a price that doesn't exist at the current market rate and you put a limit order, you're a market maker, right? You're always a market maker. So, you know, it's, in other words, literally telling you that you're a market manipulator, right? So I'm sure, you know, there's something going on there where 28,000 Bitcoin was sold in order to create this spike. And within that time, I'm sure more than that was picked up. I mean, we've got to see the on-chain data come out and see exactly what's going on. But so far, I know last few days we had millions and millions and millions, if not billions of dollars enter with, like, you know, Tether and this and that, but they didn't buy anything. They just entered exchanges. So when you see that on chain, you're like, okay, so what are these guys buying? They didn't buy anything. And then a few days later, you see how Bitcoin dumps and all of this Bitcoin coming in. And I'm only talking about the ones that flagged up. So the 10,000 flagged up, the 18,000 flagged up. There could be, you know, something less than 1,000 which didn't flag up, because I'm looking at the whale ones, right? I'm not looking at the normal wallets. So if I'm looking at that, and you can see that there could be thousands more that we don't really have the data for, or basically didn't trigger the data for us to talk about. So there could be, in my opinion, there could be, like, you know, over 50,000, maybe 100,000 Bitcoin that was dumped at the peak, right? And then rebought at the bottom. So somebody sold the peak and they decided to pick up the bottom and carry on. And fortunately for Michael Saylor, his bot was activated, or is activated, and is picking up those coins. So good luck, my man, you done well. So you know, for me, as I said, like on episode 16, and as you know, the mic was messed up, but it's a video that I did mention. I said, whatever happens, I am not selling, I'm getting ready to buy. And this is the reason why I said I'm getting ready to buy, because I know that we're going to have this opportunity coming to us again before we go. So, you know, every line that I drawed, like, you know, my best case scenario, my middle case scenario, my worst case scenario, every scenario played out on the charts and just carried on, basically. So I'm quite thrilled to see this. Also, I think, I mean, I don't know. I mean, right now, there's a lot of altcoins, there's a lot of opportunities out there. And I want to get into those, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to make another video quickly, just after this one, actually, so that I can throw my my top 5 picks, and what I think they're going to do and why they're going to do what they're going to do. And they will include some fundamentals, right? I'm not much of a fundamental guy. Listen, I'm in crypto to make money. I don't give a damn about the fundamentals, but fundamentals do matter to me when I'm in it for a longer period of time. If I'm doing it for the next 4 or 5 years, then fundamentals do matter. All right, and I'll explain that in the next video. But until then, guys, like, subscribe, share, and I'll definitely see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye bye.